when I overthink. I only smoke when I drink. And I only drink when I overthink. I only smoke when I drink. And I only drink when I overthink. I only smoke when I drink. And I only drink when I overthink. I only smoke when I drink. And I only drink when I overthink. I only smoke when I drink. And I only drink when I overthink. I only smoke when I drink. And I only drink when I overthink. And I only think about you. And I only think about you. I only think about you. And I only think about you. I only think about you. And I only think about you. And I drink. And I only think about you. I only think about you.
Greetings, welcome back to the Indie Hoverboard Racing Devlog. Today we're just going to cover three areas. We're going to cover some changes to the camera. So as you look up, you basically get much more cinematic view. As you look down, you're going to get this close type view, and that basically changes. It's also relevant to the hoverboard as well. The main reason for doing this is, in fact, we'll go through the start, which is the second bit that I want to cover, and see what changes there are, and then when we get to the board, I'll cover kind of how that affects the board. Second thing you might have noticed is we now have a companion. So the companion is essentially Navi from The Legend of Zelda. So it recognizes things in your environment, draws the player's attention there without having to clutter the UI. So they are a physical representation of things like representing enemies, points of interest for puzzles, and people that you can talk to. It's also a secondary character, so because this is an indie project, I don't have a lot of money for animation and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be cool just to have a robot type character, which to me says sci-fi, without having to do too much animation. So I spent a bit of time just on some movement controls. So as you can see, she never really, I say she, I probably should call it she actually. If you've got any recommendations for names, that'd be cool. One note, I'm not going to make it quite so Navi, so it won't be necessarily shouting at you all the time. It's just going to be there as a companion. It may provide hints if you want it to provide hints, but I don't think it'll ever stop gameplay, because that was the one downside with Ocarina of Time. So I just wanted to make it small so it can't affect enemies too much. It's more there for guidance. It's not going to be there to necessarily take over combat. It may have some role in combat. As you can see, we've turned red, which indicates there's some danger in the area. If I move a little bit closer now, it's actually recognised danger up above, so I was kind of hoping it should go and recognise these guys as danger. So there essentially will be a sequence where once I come and collect this sword, so from in here, I'll pick this up, then these guys essentially come down. So you've got one guy up here, and another guy over there, and there's one more guy around here somewhere. He will be essentially waiting on a web to come down and to come and try and kick you butt. It's a good chance to go and learn how to do some combat stuff, which would be cool. So I'm just going to keep going for the time being. Apologies for the debug text on the top left. If anyone knows what this is, that would be helpful. I think it might be something to do with having multiple post processors, but the message itself isn't too helpful. So if anyone's got any ideas on that, please let me know. Hopefully, I've just programmed this, I haven't even tested it, so hopefully it will work. but if I get close enough to this one, aha, fantastic. So now I'll keep on saying she. She's gone above this, so it's obviously a point of interest. As you can see, I've got the message on the HUD which says click for a light attack. Cool, so I'll do that, and we've moved the crystal. Hopefully it'll let me through. Might be some physics to sort out there. Then we need to lock this off a little bit so that you're kind of forced into doing this event. This event's quite relevant because when so yeah, just a quick note. So she'll flash red, so there's danger. If you target now, it'll actually go above the head of the enemy, hopefully. Yeah, so I should sit above the head of the enemy that's being targeted as priority. So if you've got a point of interest, your actual target will be more of a priority. This left click isn't disappearing because it was waiting for the original rock to be destroyed, and we're not doing that anymore, so no problem. I haven't had a chance to necessarily test the start of the game. I've just kind of created the new area and created our little companion here to give us a bit more information. So that's the main things that I've been working on. So essentially, you might play a bit more of a role in combat, but not really. Other quality of life changes, I've updated these rope bridges. They were okay, they weren't the best really. I just thought we could do a bit better with the other spline system that we've got. It's actually the Spline Plus system, and to be honest I found it really good. So, oh no, hoverboard's down there. Okay, well we're going to have to jump down and get it. Woo! Okay, that's interesting. That'll leave me. Ah, it's opening over here, fair enough. So, as you can see, when you get a bit faster, your companion does keep up with you. Whoa! Phew! So, your companion does keep up with you, which is nice. It's all done, so rather than setting location, I kind of wanted that vibe where essentially you just kind of feel like there's a bit more of a swaying kind of movement, a bit more unpredictable, which is a bit more kind of character led. So first we've got the trail, as you can see, so you can spot her even though she's quite small, you can spot her from quite far away. And yeah, overall just fairly happy, just going to play around with it, see how we go. So she does actually get quite fast, so she can keep up with you. Hopefully it won't be too annoying, could make it so that she never actually sits in the middle of the screen. But I don't like it in games where they just have one sort of place on the screen. It doesn't feel too variable. I do want her to kind of feel like she has some sort of personality and she's going to express that through her movements. So yeah, so essentially she will just go around. So when we're off the board, she'll just be kind of zipping around, doing whatever she does. One note on her, so essentially at a randomized time she will actually just choose a random location to be. So what she's doing is essentially just choosing a couple of random points around the player, and then there's just a little bit of drift so that it doesn't feel like it's too static. She's also got an effect on her, so you can see a very light sort of outline just to show that she's actually powered up. And then when we interact with enemies and stuff like that, she will actually blink like a much easier way to see basically. So now we've got our board, we kind of talk about the camera a little bit. So as you can see, this affects the camera when you are looking up and down on the hoverboard as well. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar in terms of up feels very open and down feels much more intense now. That's just a field of view thing. So we also do overscan on the camera as well. So essentially it just feeds in a couple of different variables about the speed and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much about all I've got to say about that. So one more change would be dodging and rolling. So one annoying thing is when you want to jump up to a place and you're forced to do a jump before you do a boost. So I made it so that we're already putting some logic for when for the field of view when the camera is looking up and looking down, and again this just makes for some like quite nice cinematic shots and stuff like that. So you get a lot more kind of in the shot itself. Like so. Cool. That should help with help me a little bit, to be honest, with like trailers and stuff. But because we're already doing that logic, essentially, so if you look up and you hold the Alt, then you do a dodge. And we've kind of done a bit of a trick. So rather than kind of sticking too close to the player, if we're aiming up, then we actually increase the size of the camera boom, which is nice because it moves in close because we're colliding against the floor. And then we do our jump and it looks like the player gets further away, but actually it's just a trick. It's just the camera boom is allowed to be that long, so we can kind of get some nice effects where if we move the camera up, but actually some nice sort of cinematic effects. But actually you can do multiple jumps like this and sort of see where you're going and stuff like that. So we can try and get up to the top. In fact, what we'll do, run over one of these. Like so. And then we'll kind of go like that. And like that. That just gives you a bit more control. We can see whether we can make it over there. I could try. Wish me luck. I'm just going to wait for my stamina to recover. That's one thing I am going to change, most likely, is the stamina bar. The stamina bar was useful for its purposes to get started until essentially I had a better idea of exactly what we wanted to do with the game. But, whoop, come on. Now kind of still not quite right. still maybe needs a little bit of work. But I feel like the stamina bar has kind of outlived its usefulness now. So we're probably going to change that to bring it down the bottom. Bring my cursor back. No, can't bring my cursor back. We're in game mode. So I'll probably bring it down to the bottom here. This will work quite well for doing trailers and stuff as well, because as we've worked vertically, the more information we can get here, or make it so that people can gather more information from this area here, the better. Talking about this area, so one thing I kind of wanted to look at was doing a trick system, as I kind of mentioned in my last devlog. So I've kind of done a bit of a compromise with it, where essentially on keyboard I like being able to press space. So if you press space while you're in the air, get a bit more, then you can do a trick. This also caches any remaining energy that you have at the same time. So rather than it being one button to cache and one button to do a trick, it kind of does both, and that's the same on controller as well. Just a note, I've added this guy and started working on like an Easter egg, so that once you've completed all the races, then you can essentially unlock this like mini boss type guy. Just something fun. So yes, so first thing to say is when we do store, I've just added a bit more of a visual effect so that you can see that you are storing. Also, if I get off the board, you can actually hang on. So once you've actually stored some energy, I don't know whether you can see right there, but the board does actually glow a bit, so just to give you an indication that you have actually cached some energy, and it should, so this is a better view of it. So this is essentially what the board looks like once you've got some energy cached, and this is just an overlay. I might tone it down a little bit, but I did kind of want to make it a bit more obvious. It'll probably be the case that once you're off the board, you'll have a limited amount of time. Your cache will just slowly sort of deplete type deal. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to have some kind of visual representation for when you're actually caching on the board, so that you can look and realise that you've got a bit more energy kind of conserved, so it gives you tough. You realise that you're going to go a lot further. You also put a notification for when you max out your cache, so it says board storage maxed. So that's so that people don't waste time essentially trying to fill up their cache. That was something that I kind of noticed. So yeah, some more visual effects for when it's actually doing it, notification for when it's maxed, and an effect notification as well through the overlay. So you get this kind of blue trail once you're caching, and your board will actually fill up as well. It'll start to have like an overlay over the top of it, which is cool. Alright, nice. So just to recap, we've made some changes to the camera so that when you're looking up, you can essentially see a lot more. It's a lot more cinematic, and that kind of plays into the exploration side of things. When you're looking down, it feels faster. It doesn't necessarily affect the hoverboard camera too much, but for the gameplay camera, it affects it quite a lot. There is quite a big focus on exploration in this game, so yeah, I just thought it was kind of quite a neat sort of thing to do. We've changed the beginning area just so it's a lot more cinematic. It's a nicer kind of entry into meeting a new character at the start of the game rather than just being thrown in, and just getting an idea about some of the mechanics that she can offer, and then the companion itself, just giving that a bit of a program so that it's kind of representing different things. If I come over here, one thing we haven't covered is the people you can talk to. So she'll just go and sit over someone that you can talk to, and just kind of swirl around their head. It's the same sort of colour, but as you can see, it's just a much bigger effect. So when she's just near me, you can see she's got kind of like a greeny type glow, but that's just to show that she's just alive essentially. And then when she senses someone that she can talk to, then she'll go talk to them. Again, if you have a target, then that will override any points of interest in the area, and when you move away, she'll just like get the idea that, you know, fair enough, there's a point of interest, but I'm not that interested right now. Cool. So yeah, pretty happy with those 3 updates this week. Next week, essentially, we'll be finishing off the start area with any luck. Also working on a new area for the open world. I've also got to redo a bunch of the quests, so hopefully I'll have a little bit of time to work on that tomorrow. If not, it'll be next week. The goal for February now is to essentially complete the vertical slice, complete this area, make sure all the mechanics that are in the game are in the game. We have a nice intro, there's a bit more character based, and then this just feels a bit more complete. So we have the quests, and then we also have the offshooting quest, which essentially will just be there. So this kind of level is kind of made to be able to take to shows and exhibitions, so hopefully I'll get more chance to do that, just to kind of show the game off while I'm working on the more open world side of things. That's not to say that I won't be able to show those levels off as well. If people want to see those, that's fine, but I just want to have something a bit more complete for shows and exhibitions where people can just run around and stuff like that. So I think that's just about it for this devlog. As ever, if you've got any questions or you'd like to be involved, let me know. I believe I may have met an absolute legend who's going to be doing some sound for me, which is fantastic. But anything to do with visual effects, optimization, 3D modeling, level design, please do let me know. I'd love to have you involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy, and goodbye.